I got a gal.
You got a gal. Let's hear about it.
Do.
Tell us about it.
The name of the company is Meta 180 in Oyster Bay. The name of the owner and proprietor of it is Constance Korol.
Welcome, Constance. I'm so excited that you're here in the studio today, and I'm really, really thrilled to share with our audience members all the wonderful things that you do. And I just want to point out that your angels look amazing.
I love my wings. Thank you so much, Joni. Yes. It's such a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, I do have so many questions. Most everybody I know has gone to an energy healer or a Reiki healer or yoga that has transformed their life. And I would love to start off by asking you a very simple question about where it all started for you. When did you make that shift?
Well, thank you, Joni. And you know, I'm just a vessel, so that's part of Reiki, right? So I'm just a vessel. I channel in my spirit guides and my angels, and so that's why I don't call myself a healer. I help those on their healing journey, and that's our mission statement, is really to get more people on this planet on their healing journey. Back to your question really quickly. It was at a pivotal point where I had to leave corporate America. I was successful in my role for a good 14 years as a marketing professional, and traveled the world and did so many different things, and I've met so many different people and have engaged in so many different cultures. But all of that really was meant for me to have that knowledge for the here and now. And you know, it was that point where I just wasn't feeling the pulse of marketing anymore. I felt like doors were closing, and it really was a matter of this light bulb going off saying, I need to shift gears. I need to go down some different roads and not get stuck in this quicksand that's literally happening in the marketing role. I need to shift gears and find another couple of different avenues. So my first one was yoga. I actually became a yoga instructor back in 2015. That was my first sort of stint out of corporate America. And I loved it. And I taught yoga, I still teach yoga, but I still needed something else to really feed my soul. And that's when I studied something called Reiki.
Reiki. I love it. And it's such a word that a lot of people still to this day really have a hard time understanding. Reiki. Can you just give us a little bit of background on that field of study and what you experienced?
I like to look at it as it's very simple. We have three bodies: physical, emotional, and energetic. Physical body, most people understand, okay? This is my, you know, I'm touching my body, I exercise, I have 11 systems, I have my cardiovascular system, my respiratory system. Most people understand that. Emotional body, we're starting to understand. You know, we're switching gears from using words and semantics like mental illness, disorders, to challenges and mental health concerns. Now, I grew up with in a household where both my parents suffered from mental health issues. Two very severe. My mother was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, and my father was clinically depressed, and he succumbed to suicide. So now we're starting to talk about that and be real about that, and understanding different modalities, whether that's in Western or Eastern medicine, to help folks that are suffering.
I mean, I love how you touched on the body.
Yep.
And then the emotional system, right? And now there's the energetic, which I love. Yes.
So now we get to energetic. What the hell is energetic? Where is it? I can't touch it.
It's all around us.
I can't smell it.
Right. It's everywhere.
You know, anything that is made out of carbon is organic, is energetic. So and so I'm energy, you're energy, we're all energy. And I think the easiest way to describe it is when you look at your pets, when you look at, you know, a dog or a cat, they don't have verbal communication, but they communicate, right?
They do.
They just understand all this energy. They know when you're upset. They know when, you know, I mean, there are dogs that are trained with folks that suffer from panic attacks or anxiety. They know when an epileptic seizure may happen and will help them to get them into a safe space. That's all energy.
So bringing it back to Reiki and how the energy system works in our bodies, how do you work with people? Like, how does that, like, what is the process? How does that work? Like, I'm going to come to you and I'd like to have a Reiki session.
Yes.
Right? So tell us a little bit about what happens in a session with Constance.
Yes. So Reiki is a Japanese technique that was developed in the early 1900s, and it is using hands to understand energy imbalances. Perhaps, and this is the first thing that I do when someone comes in for a session, I use my hands and I scan the body and I immediately see, oh wow, okay, there's a lot of activity in the eyes. Okay, their throat chakra is really, really raised. And perhaps other areas are super flat. Maybe I go over their belly area and their solar plexus, their sacral, their root chakras. I know, we're getting into fancy terms here. So some are raised, some are flat.
Right.
The goal is to balance it all. So everything will be, so at the end of the session, I can go like this and I can be like, oh, okay.
Okay, so what would be like peaks and valleys on my on my energy system, and you're feeling that, a smooth energy system.
So sometimes we work in the aura space, which is an energy field around the physical body. And sometimes I do use touch to the physical body. Sometimes it's important to do that.
How far outside of ourselves can this physical aura be? I like to know, because
it's really infinity, quite frankly. Because think about it. So, and I do this in my guided meditation classes. Okay, first thing you want to do is take away your skin, take away your hair, take away your nails, take away your skeleton, take away your organs, take away you know, your ligaments, your tendons. All of a sudden, you're left with an energy field.
Fascinating. Can we do that right now, like a little piece of that?
Yeah.
All right, would you take us through that meditation for like, I don't know, 3 minutes or whatever it takes?
Oh,
yeah, like just a quickie. So
Sure.
We're going to experience this meditation from Constance that's going to help us get in touch with our energy body. And I'm really excited. So as you can see, first thing we did, both of us, is to uncross our legs, because crossing our legs is also a blocking of energy. So we're actually opening up our body to more energy to come in and out by just uncrossing our legs.
So yeah, it's pretty important to have our feet on the earth, sitting up nice and tall, so our chakras, all of our energy chakras are in alignment. So let's go ahead and place the tops of the hands onto our thighs, thumb and index together, just to feel the sensation in our fingertips. Let's go ahead and close the eyes and just swallow a couple of times to clear out that throat and stimulate the vagus nerve. That brings us into a more quiet space. We're going to start to quiet that mind down, start to pulling out thoughts out of that mind box. And we focus in on the breath and how our chest rises and lowers.
That's a perfect cut. I'm sorry. The wings just came out. I don't know, your energy.
Wow!
But your wings were like in the middle of the session and they puff. So you have to cut them.
Oh,
Wow, you
That's really-
popped the wings right off of you.
So just continue whenever you want.
Okay,
that's
very cool.
There you go.
All righty. All right, let's get back into that
that's
position.
energy right there. So go ahead and close the eyes, focusing on the breath. Feel the chest rising and lowering, soften in the shoulders. We turn up that knob, which gives us a little bit more serotonin to relax us. We turn down the knob of the adrenaline. And let's go ahead and shift our energy as we allow ourselves to shed our hair, our nails, our skin, the skeleton, the organs, and we allow ourselves to blend in with all the available energy that surrounds us, locally, within our home, our community, going out to our state, our country, blending in with everyone, finding that oneness, allowing ourselves to travel all around the world, feeling all the elements of the water, the earth, air, and a little bit of fire. We even allow ourselves to blend in with the planetary energy in our universe and other universes. And it's peaceful, and it's loving, and it's kind. And you find yourself in a happy state, free of suffering, free of delusion. You're home within yourself. We take 3 breaths here as we acknowledge that we are able to do this and travel whenever we want. One more inhale and exhale. And we begin our landing back into our time and space, feeling our systems, our cardiovascular system, respiratory system, lymphatic system, all the systems, feeling our organs, our skeleton, our skin, our hair, our fingertips. And we slowly open up our eyes as we feel the shift of the energy.
So I love. It's like,
Did you travel? Where'd you go?
Oh my gosh, space travel is my
Yeah.
favorite. You know, the final frontier, the voyagers of the North Shore TV.
No SpaceX required.
Right? It's truly a remarkable thing when you get in touch with that energy system, that all we really need to do is remove all the physical parts of our being, and then, like you said, you're just left with this energy. What happens to us when we come back? It's almost like, can I recreate that someplace in my life? Like, can I take that happy place where I just journeyed, feeling light, effortless, and like limitless.
Yeah.
How do I apply that to my life?
Well, it certainly takes a while to adjust to that higher vibrational state, but that's the work that we do at Meta 180. So someone doesn't necessarily come in for one Reiki session. Someone really says, and they raise their hand and say, I need to live differently. You know, my house perhaps is cluttered, but I want to also expand because my family is growing and I'm growing out of my house. But how do I do that? I have some childhood trauma that really is coming up in sticky ways, and I really want to start healing that. I am not happy in my relationships, or I'm happy in my relationships, but I still need to shift things because I want to move, or I want a different career. There's so many different things. Or someone comes in and they are physically not well, you know, some sort of illness or injury or disease. So coming out of a meditation, you want to, as I said at the end of the meditation, remind yourself that you are able to do this. You're able to go back to that place. And eventually you start to really resonate with that high vibrational energy. That's the next question, right? What in the world is she talking about?
Yeah, high vibrational energy. It's like when you don't know you're there until you're there, and so it takes time. This process of getting in touch and tapping in, getting aligned, getting your energy system, your chakra system aligned, takes time. It's not a one and done. It requires effort, just like any muscle. You need to work it. You know, work your celestial body, your energy body, and get in touch with that and speak to it. You know, we talk to ourselves unconsciously all the time, but when we start to become more conscious and have a conversation, then we can hear ourselves actually giving us the best advice ever.
And not only that, let's get to my angel wings over here.
Yes.
So we could listen to our guides. Our guides are all around us, and they are always our cheerleaders. We are the ones that put these delusions in our head that we can't do something. Their goal is for us to live happy and free and at peace and with love, kindness, and compassion. My work is fairly simple, even though people think it's complicated. You know, living in lower vibrational energy is guilt, shame, embarrassment, anger, worry, and the big F word, fear.
Yeah, talking to your angels.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah. And bringing them into your home. Allowing that space to be love, kind, and compassionate. You and I had that side conversation. I just thought of it when you were talking about how sometimes people are fearful of bringing in someone like me who may clear a house so that it is in a love, kindness, and compassionate space, or someone like you to actually give them you know, beauty and feel good about their space. So there's nothing right or wrong about this. There's nothing bad or good about this. It's literally just high vibration, low vibration. And when we take the ego out of the equation, you're really just left with, again, this energy state that just wants to live in happiness and freedom and peace and love and kindness. And, you know, why my mission statement is to get more people on a healing journey in this time and space on this planet is because we live in a society that does have judgment,
right,
and embarrassment and shame and fear and anger.
So we can actually be like a tag team, you and I. We can go in and just be like the Meta 180 and the Mind Body Home, because we're talking the same exact language, and how that is expressed in our lives through the physical things we bring in and out of our home. And that could also be our body, like what are we eating, bringing food into, cleaning our bodies with good food, drinking lots of clear, clean water is our first way we can start that process, right? And I have so many questions. I wish that we had more time, but part of it is I want to ask you, like, what's happening next? Like, Meta 180 is located, where is it located? Can we find you? And I'd love to talk more about this beautiful piece of artwork necklace.
Awesome, thank you so much. So Meta 180, my goal is to have Meta 180 globally. And I really feel that that is a very good possibility, as my angels are guiding me to do that. Right now, it's locally in Oyster Bay, New York. I have a small healing studio there. And
you have some events coming up?
I do.
Love to hear
I have a winter solstice event for guided meditation and art.
Which is the date of that is?
December 17th, so it's right before the winter solstice. And then I have a vision board workshop coming up January 8th. So instead of New Year's resolutions, because, okay, I'm gonna give up chocolate for a day. This really is the roadmap for your healing journey for the next maybe 6, 9, 12 months. And you could put in there things that you wanna do to your home, things that you want to do in your career, relationships, do you want to travel? What do you want to do that puts you on this healing journey, and you can visualize it and you can really see it. That's manifestation right there.
We're so thankful you came to visit us today.
Thank you,
and
Jenny.
there's part of this program, though, is we have a little segment called I Got a Guy, or I Got a Gal. Do you have a guy or do you have a gal? What do you got, Constance?
I got a guy.
Okay.
And he's very close to me. He actually lives in my home, and we've been together for over 20 years. It's my husband.
Very nice. Tell us a little bit about your guy.
So my guy is a fine art photographer by trade, and he studied so many different modalities of art. So when I started to form Meta 180, I said, well, I clearly need to have an artistic part of that. And there you go.
So he jumped right on board.
Jumped right on
And so
board.
tell us a bit about his medium that he uses, because I see this beautiful, beautiful medallion that you have, and he made that, I'm sure. Of course.
So one of the things that our main focus right now is our healing jewelry, and we use organic matter, crystals. This is actually labradorite, which is a crystal that's certainly magical. He handcrafted this piece on copper enamel, and copper helps with being a conduit.
So do these materials, these different minerals, rock formations, and metals, when they're combined, do they actually help us balance our own energy system?
Yeah, so great question. So if someone comes to me and says, I'm really struggling with menopause right now, and I'm getting all these different symptoms, and I really feel out of whack, and yeah. Yeah. Hi. There is a stone that helps with balancing out hormones. I'll be able to, share that with someone that may be suffering from symptoms in menopause. So there'll be different.
So your guy, you place the order. You say, I have a client you've been working on, and she has some imbalances, and we talked about these things, and you place an order with your husband, and you say, she needs this, this, and this, and he creates this beautiful, unique, one-of-a-kind custom pieces for that one, for this client.
Correct.
I love that. Did you know this was your guy Like when you first laid eyes on him, was it like
100%.
Like did you both bend down at the same time and bang heads? I mean,
well, it's a really interesting story because I was in transition and I just took a temporary job working in an art gallery in the Fuller Building on Madison Avenue in Manhattan. And I really did not like the job, but I was placed there because then the next day, Michael enters the room and he starts taking pictures and doing all this stuff. And I see my colleagues yelling at him, like really screaming at him, Michael, Michael. And I was like, why is everyone screaming at him? And, you know, he would just kind of come and go because he was the resident photographer that would shoot the art pieces for magazines, newspapers, you know, that kind of thing, or even for selling purposes. So then I realized, oh, he's hearing impaired.
I love it.
Why is everyone screaming at him? So it really was love at first sight. So, you know, from that point,
exciting.
I mean, I was only there for about 3 weeks and then I moved into my other role. But, you know, that's how we met. And it was very serendipitous because...
So during this transition for you, when you were working in corporate, and you had decided that was not, you had already been together for quite some time.
Yes.
And he saw that transition.
Yes.
And that's to me beautiful, because when you're with somebody who is moving in the journey on the path with you, and they see your shifts and they see your changes and transformations, and he's willing, and your partner is going with you and embracing it and saying, ooh, what's next? You know, Constance is going to have something up her sleeve. I don't know what it, and then boom, like this rebirth occurs, and he is just celebrating you.
Yes, and you know, that's a really beautiful word to say, and that's really how it is. He understood energy from a very young age as well. He studied martial arts, so he's black belt in Jeet Kune Do. And that's how he always channeled energy. So I actually learned about energy much later than him. So it just kind of funneled into, oh, okay, we're going to go in this direction and use this for healing purposes.
So we were talking about angels, and we're talking about energies. And when Constance brought us into the meditation, the wings fell off the chair. And those, it's a Constance, let me ask you something. What do you think that meant?
Well, it goes back to, I'm the vessel, but I'm not an angel, not yet. So we're not going to use these wings, for sure.
They're really nice to look at.
Yeah. Let's leave them for, you know, another time and space.
Constance, thank you for coming in today.
And thank you, Joni. Thank you for having me. It was a blast.
It was fun.
All right.
So here we go. Here's to the angels in our life.